So what's up, everybody? This is the Movie Guru, and I'm extremely excited that they're deciding to do a remake of Resident Evil 4. It's one of my favorite games in 2005 for the PlayStation 2. Definitely spent a lot of time playing that game, and a lot of memories. Definitely excited to see them now bring it back, especially for these next gen systems. I did a previous video where I'm just breaking down the 15-minute gameplay that Capcom released with some commentary. And so now I decided to do a deeper dive and really just go into the mechanics and the info that's being released around the game. So I'm right here on the Wikipedia page, and I'm just breaking down some of the things that they're saying about the Resident Evil game. So, of course, we know it is a survival horror game, pretty much genre defining game, published by Capcom. And it looks like it will be coming out for all systems: PlayStation 4, 5, Windows, Xbox X, Series X, and S. Now, I have an Xbox One, and I kind of just been sticking to that. I really haven't upgraded past that, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to upgrade to play this. I mean, the graphics look like it might not be able to handle on my Xbox One, so it looks like we're gonna have to see. Let me click on that footnote and see what they actually say. So it looks like here it says coming to consoles PC March 24th. So with PlayStation VR 2 content, so maybe a little bit of first person. I am looking at getting a VR system, and I have seen some clips of people playing the original Resident Evils on the VR, so maybe that would be a way. But I'm not necessarily getting a PlayStation VR. Vastly improved graphics, but the same spooky atmosphere. So, but this time they added a ton of rain, not just that sort of dark and stormy night, but definitely it was a lot of rain. It says this time it's being developed to achieve state of the art quality. Let's see. I wanted to see if they said anything specifically. Okay, it says Resident Evil 4 was released on GameCube. Later came the Android, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, 4, Xbox One. All right, but it didn't really say anything specifically as far as if it will be out for Xbox One. It just says Xbox Series X and S. And so, of course, the game follows uh, Agent Leon Kennedy, who faces several enemies. Several. They need to upgrade that to faces a million enemies. I mean, there's so much killing in this game if you really think about it. I mean, from the beginning to end. And of course, I believe the infamous castle scene where he's just running through shooting people. I mean, had to be like at least 500 people were harmed in the making of this game, just to save Ashley Graham, daughter of the President of the United States. Okay, and it says from a Spanish village dominated by Los Illuminados, a violent cult worshiping an ancient parasite years after the events of his introduction, meaning Leon. Other characters appear in the remake involve Ada Wong, Leon's operator Ingrid, who he talks to on the comms, as well as civilian Louis Serra. Other characters include Bitez Mendez and Ramon Salazar. So let's take a look and see who those characters are. Salazar, of course, is more of the Spanish guy that you see running around. And so, look, that must be who's that there. More details about Capcom's Resident Evil characters and update to the game's official website include renders and biographies for characters that had yet to appear in previews of the remake. The Resident Evil 4 remake characters featured on the website include previous ones like Leon, Ashley, Lewis, characters like Ada Wong, Bitez Mendez, Ramon Salazar, Ingrid Hunnigan. It says updated list as well as pictures show off the remade appearances and brief bios. Even the Granados, infected villagers, the chainsaw villager who chases Leon around, and the weapon selling merchant make the cut. So it says aside from the characters, the Resident Evil 4 remake features Updated visuals, of course, it keeps saying that. Other character designs focus on adjusting their outfits more practical look or to account for more realistic facial features. So over the top designs like the Napoleon like stature of Ramon Salazar and the massive figure of Bitors Mendez are still visible though. Okay, it says PS4, PS5, Xbox, XS, PC via Steam. So that is Salazar. Ramon Salazar. That's who that is. But y'all knew that already. All right, so it says Resident Evil 4 is a remake. It will feature over-the-shoulder third-person shooter similar to the original while drawing from the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 2, of course, being Claire and Leon, and Leon's first introduction. And then Resident Evil 3 is where Jill, they picked up back up with Jill. I believe Chris was in 3. It says, in an innovative step to the Resident Evil series, Resident Evil 4 will be the first game to offer 6 optional control schemes, okay? Including one that is styled after the control stream in the original. So let's see what they mean by that. So it says, as we get closer to the March release for Resident Evil, thankfully Capcom has graced us with some details. And so that's one of the Bull Man. So it's like they switch off now. Before it really was just a Chainsaw Man that you would see in any given situation, but it looks like now they have the Bull Man with a mallet. And I did see in the trailer that there is a Chainsaw Man. It said during their playtime, Game Informer encountered an all-new enemy, which is pretty huge surprise. Currently unnamed, this Ganado wears the decapitated head of a bull like a mask and carries a massive hammer to pulverize Leon. Now in the clip, when you get to the end of the 15-minute demo, the bull rushes in. Leon gets off a few shots, but the bull just eats those and knocks him to the ground, and then the demo ends. So I guess like they're saying here, he was really like a tank, and any of on the fire that Leon hit, didn't do anything. Capcom teased that this bullish man won't be the only new face. Said Resident Evil 2 and 3 added 2 new enemies, not counting creatures that were entirely reworked. The Pale Hands and the NE Alpha Parasite zombie, and both were closer to a simple zombie than truly new encounters. The bullish man here is something wildly different, not fitting into the archetype of the original creature features, sounding much closer to Revelation 2's Ironhead. As fans noticed a bull mask in among the original concept art, this opens up the possibility for other previously unused horrors to appear. The Hooked Man and female jester Ganado spring to mind as strong hopefuls. Now let's talk about some of the controls. Game Informer briefly spoke to Resident Evil 4's new controls, which are identical to the default control scheme in the 2009 Resident Evil 2 remake. Moving and shooting. That was always a challenge for Resident Evil. It was more so pull out your gun and sort of pivot. But now it looks like you can move. But it was still very tight. It wasn't like you could move a lot. It wasn't like a dodge, right? It was more like a step, like a slow step. L2 and R2 to aim and fire and all that jazz. A real surprise came with Capcom confirmed that there are 6 optional control schemes, including one styled after 2005, which would be the original. And so I am replaying the original right now. I just started. You can check that at my live tab on my Movie Guru YouTube channel. And it took me at least 10 minutes to get used to those controls. I'm used to playing Xbox. And so even though I was playing it on the Xbox, it still was difficult getting back into those controls because it's just so ancient. But I definitely will not be choosing that configuration, even though if I play the whole game and beat it, I might say that I probably might be used to the 2005 configuration, since it's probably going to take me up until the game comes out to be able to beat it, because I'm going to play a little bit every night, so then I might as well just go right into it. Could this mean that Resident Evil 4 Remake, of all things, could have tank controls? But at the same time, the original controls required the controller's face buttons to fire weapons and run, making the right stick useless. It's hard to imagine what a middle ground to that would be. Color me intrigued because I would absolutely play with tank controls. Ashley, a big point of contention among players terrible at Resident Evil 4 have always been Ashley Graham, the president's daughter, and the target of Leon's rescue mission, among one of the gaming's best and simplest escort missions. Ashley has always presented easy tasks throughout the original title, capable of being ordered to safely or simply stick to Leon's back like a satchel where she can be sandwiched against the wall and away from danger. Get down! In order to combat this, the developers behind Resident Evil 4 Remake have made an effort to make Ashley a bigger piece of the gameplay. So it looked like from the 13-minute demo, he sort of called out her name. She got on his back, climbed, through a higher entryway and opened the door, dropped the ladder. For one thing, Ashley's wait follow commands have been swapped out for ordering her to follow Leon closely or hang back by clicking the right stick, R3. Ashley can no longer be told to hide anymore. Feels like having Ashley go hide somewhere defeats the purpose of having you with you. I can't help but agree it would add a new level of challenge. And this is what I'm guessing I saw in the demo, if you watch that, where he kind of went off on his John Wick killing spree, and the Granados actually grabbed her, and when the Granados had her on his shoulder and was making off with her. I guess that's where it's like she's there, but if he gets too far from her, and she's able to be grabbed, and you have to go rescue her again. It said she has a health HUD, and so she can take a few more hits depending on type of enemy. Some bigger ones can knock her down, and once her health runs out, she'll be put to a down state that requires you to run over and recover. If she gets hits again, it's mission failed. Here's a tweet. In Resident Evil 4 Remake, you can just now stab a Granado in the neck if they're carrying Ashley. So that's exactly the scene I was talking about. A thing I used to scream about and not being able to do in the original. So thanks. Okay. Side quests. All right. So, I mean, the games are already extremely long. In the demo, in the 13-minute demo, they did show a map. And on that map, so I had to pause it, and it kind of zoomed to where they were. Currently, they were in chapter 5. So if you know, chapter 1 is the village, then chapter 2, I guess, would be like the farm. Well, chapter 1 and 2 will be the village and the farm, and then it keeps going. So they were 4 chapters ahead, but he kind of had to go back. And I got a chance to slow it down, and I could see, sort of the path that he already went on. And I'm guessing that there are side quests now. And looks like here it says, won't anyone destroy the emblems engraved upon the tombstones? So this is like if you played the first original one, you kind of go to the farm. There's a note on the tree, and it says something about the blue medallions. If you shoot the blue medallions, you'll get, some sort of points, but you have to find and shoot a certain amount of them. So that was sort of what did there, but I guess it was a side quest now thinking about it, because this is pretty much the same thing. So you destroy the emblems engraved on the tombstone, and it's something extra to do. I thought when it said side quest, it was kind of more like The Witcher. If you guys are familiar with The Witcher 3, where it's a whole a bulletin board, a couple of tasks on there, and you could totally go off mission, go somewhere, do something, and have a totally different encounter, and keep doing side missions before you get back on the main mission. But looks like here, it's just shooting things, medallions, breaking stuff. All right, you are dead. One of the things I and many others have been curious about is the game over moments. While it's not like the series has ever let up on the gore, the original 2004 Resident Evil stands out as easily the most over-the-top graphic depictions of the player death. We got a small tease when the game first dropped, but Game Informer got a chance to see one of the game's new horrific ends, and they watched Leon's eyes get stabbed out. Whoa! By his thumbs, just boop, poke his eyes out. Wow. So, all right, that's pretty cool. So that's some more details. Let's see if I can go back here. All right, it's not letting me go back. There we go. All right. So it says, so I mean, it really didn't go into the differences, but it says six different schemes. It says Resident Evil 4 features modernized and improved visuals compared to the original with a tenser atmosphere, improved character design, and enhanced backgrounds. Yeah. As an original game, the player will organize an inventory and an attaché case, which is greatly appreciated. I mean, I did also do the Resident Evil Director's Cut. I did Resident Evil original for GameCube, and then I did Resident Evil 2 original for PlayStation 2. And the inventories, I mean, each time got a little bit better, but still couldn't hold much. I mean, running back and forth to the stash boxes was ridiculous. And I'm guessing since this is a more open world game, that's why they had to go. He can't be running two save rooms or even two cases. So that's why they have the chapters, and that's why they have a larger menu to hold items. The merchant is always there, so you can allow a buy, upgrade, and trade items. He will also provide new side quests that may be completed. In combat, Leon can roundhouse kick, and he can always do that. But this time, let me tell you, the roundhouse kick, it looked like something from Street Fighter. I mean, he literally, it wasn't more like a front kick or just like a side kick. He did like a spin kick. It said, as well as a new parry mechanics that include blocking attacks from a chainsaw and knife. I really couldn't see the parry, but I did. The guy did do it, and it did look like it was a parry. I wanted to see if they elaborate on it more, but it looks like they didn't. Actually, here's some clips. So here's Ada, of course. Now this might be the first actual picture that we can see of Ada. I mean, the digital graphics of the PlayStation 1 and Resident Evil 2 was, I mean, she was a blockhead. I mean, we could tell that she was, Asian character. And even if you played the first Resident Evil, you know that she was married to one of the researchers at the original mansion. And her name, John, and Ada was the password for one of the computers. And so we know how she kind of tied in, but we really didn't know her as far as her being a, agent, or who she worked for, or she was, sent there to get the virus. And she kind of was, flirting back and forth with Leon. This looks like the merchant. I believe that's Lewis. Chainsaw Man. Leon and his knife. Ashley. Salazar. And I forget his name, but they said his name. Bitors Mendez, yes. Okay. So it says the merchant. Okay, he also provides side quests. Okay, so it says development began in 2018. So it says that the Division 1 team worked on the remake of Resident Evil 2 following its reveal in 2023, stated that the game is being developed by reimagining the storyline of the game while keeping the essence of its direction, modernizing the graphics, and updating the controls. The game will have the same length as the original, so it's probably, all day. Hours and hours it took to beat Resident Evil 4. So many boards, and it doesn't look like it's going to be any shorter, and that's good. We don't really want a short game. So it says here, so here it is. So it says one of the key elements, most notably how to use Leon's knife in his endurance after encounters with the enemies. The set appeal is to give players various ways to complete Resident Evil 4. When it comes to QuickTime events, Capcom aims to reduce them as much as possible. So meaning like mash square to dodge the boulder or dodge an attack. In keeping with the original game, the briefcase was briefly touched to change weapons quickly. Unlike the original game, Leon can carry multiple knives in his inventory to compensate for the limited durability. So it looks like the knives are going to have a breaking point where if you use them too much, they'll break and you'll be without a knife. I'm guessing it's kind of like they added the knife in Resident Evil, where it was more so like an automatic defense, where if a zombie got too close, he would pull out the knife. So maybe that's more of what it is. It looked like some of the there was breakable cases, but it looked like there were more boxes. So that's probably what they meant. There's probably less breakable objects, more boxes. And if you do come into an area with a lot of breakable boxes, your knife is going to break down. The development team was split into three groups that worked in three areas: the village, the castle, and the island. Also revealed the game director that the island won't be cut from the final version of the game because your boy went ham. Let's see what they say. I mean, Leon was going ham on the island. I mean, it was so much death and murder. Capcom has confirmed they are not removing any content from Resident Evil 4 and will improve on them instead. So it's going to be more murder and mayhem. So there was rumors that the island in the game would be removed. The magazine explained that the team behind the remake is split in three. Okay, we just said that. Through this way, each team could be more exhaustive when they build up each segment of the game and add more details. He also said that once everything was complete, they would put each section together and figure out how each section worked, create a holistic experience. The section would feature more content than the first Resident Evil 4. The section will probably be updated to improve the player experience. It is undeniable that the island section is not a favorite among fans due to its change in tone and pacing from a survival horror shooter to an action horror shooter. I mean, he was running through. I mean, there's people everywhere. I believe you have to get on a mine cart. I mean, it was just a lot going on. But it's a section where we met Krauser, Leon's former partner. Okay. In addition, is where Leon first encountered Iron Maiden, a better version of the terrifying Regenerator. Although Capcom has yet to reveal the designs of the Regenerator or Iron Maiden for Resident Evil 4 remake, players can expect a huge upgrade in terms of design. But with the director himself debunking the rumors, the franchise can breathe out a sigh of relief for what is to come. So the island is definitely in the game. So that's big. Let's see. It was also revealed, okay, keeping up with the realism, the characters' facial features were based on real persons. Leon's in-game facial features will have the motion capture's likeliness. In regards to the narrative, the team aims to expand Ashley's characterization and relationship with Leon. Lewis is also meant to elaborate more in depth. Considering the game's witty, the story is meant to be more horror focused, something shown in early demos. The characterization of Leon was affected to react more to the enemies to the point he would often insult them. The visuals were carefully developed to improve the idea of horror. The game was developed with the RE engine. What's the RE engine? So let's see, how do you improve on one of the finest survival horror games ever made? The question is facing the team at Capcom. Many of them worked on the original Resident Evil 4 as they tackled a remake. After 17 years, we too have gained a lot of knowledge about making games. I sure hope so. We're now able to make games that are enjoyed on both a deeper and broad level when it comes to elements. We thought by adding this knowledge would make an even more enjoyable game. Who was the lead designer on the original game? So the is now a producer of the remake. That's why we decided to tackle Resident Evil 4 with the mindset. Even if it's a difficult project, let's see what we can do. Oh man, so it looks like Ashley definitely gets the virus. Lewis, we saw this. This was in the trailer. Looks like a sacrifice. And there's the graveyard. Ashley again. Leon and Ada. Salazar. Trying to see if he has anything different than what I already said. It doesn't look like it. You can use the knife for follow-up attacks on fallen enemies. So that was it was almost like a takedown move. So it's like he shot him. They got too close. He kicked them, and then while they were on the ground, he ran up to him and he like stabbed him in their neck. The actions will reduce the knife's durability, though it's important to think carefully about when to use it. So I guess you just can't knife your way through the whole game. That's basically what he's saying. So the story has been restructured, the demo. So it says, yes, it's fair to see it that way. We put particular emphasis on interactions. We like to show even more about the game's human relationship than the original does. They're caring about their feelings. So it says, I'd say there are barely any quick times. So no mashing square to dodge the boulder. However, there are times we need to press a button on a situation to dodge the boulder. Yo. No thanks. All right. I think it went back. All right. I was way down here. I don't know why it went back. Yeah, here it is. The remake also add ammo crafting. I can't speak about that right now, but there may be something we're thinking about, ways to let people experience the game using play style that they enjoy. They're focused on expressions. The game's being made in an RE engine, allowing us to handle lots of platforms. So it looks like it was made. So even though it'll be available on Xbox, it looks like it was made on the PlayStation system. Yeah, it was made for the latest gen. Okay. Okay. So I mean, some new things that we didn't know, some things we did, but there's only one way to find out when it comes out. So I just wanted to read some specifics, get into some deeper dive on what was going on with Resident Evil, and see how exactly it was going to be different from the original. It has pretty much told us. So look, if you like this video, of course, give me a like. If you got some other things that you want to talk about with Resident Evil, leave a comment below. If you want to watch my 2005 original Resident Evil 4 gameplay, click on the live comment on my Movie Guru page and check that out. But of course, thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Awesome Nobody, your host on the Movie Guru